Hello and welcome to Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan,
I'm Ryan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into today's episode, be sure to check out our Patreon over at patreon.com/Drive-In Double Feature Podcast. We have tons of bonus content over there, and you get that for $5 a month, and you help support the channel that way. But no main show content is locked behind the Patreon. But Ryan, let's get into this Tuesday's movie. We're back at it again with more Hitchcock. We are talking about The Man Who Knew Too Much, and I hope you didn't just rewatch the same movie again.
I mean, that's what you picked. So I was just like, okay, let's see Peter Lorre. See, I mean, maybe I liked it better
Did you
2 weeks in
enjoy
a
it
row.
more the second time around?
Yeah, I think that's how we should do the podcast. We watch each movie twice in a row.
It's not a bad idea for a movie like return or to a podcast. You return to the movie, see if you like it more. I mean, there was a podcast I was on at one point where we watched a movie like 5 times in a row. Maybe not that much, like 4 times in a row. I think you were there too.
Did we? Oh yeah.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Well, I wasn't like it was, I would only watch a movie 5 times in a row if it was like a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, oh yeah, I love that. I loved one. Yeah, yeah. No, I loved watching a 3-hour movie over and over again, and that
No.
was just for fun,
Yeah,
actually.
I love watching 3-hour documentaries in a row 5 times.
It's my favorite too. Well, I'm sorry that you rewatched this one again because we're talking about the remake. Yes, Alfred Hitchcock went and remade the movie that we talked about last week.
Gross.
Yeah, no, remakes were okay in the 50s. It was fine. It's 1956's The Man Who Knew Too Much, directed by Alfred again, but this time it's starring James Stewart and Doris Day with no Peter Lorre, which he was still kicking. They could I think I would have loved to
Yeah.
have him back.
Mhm. They should have brought him in. What was he doing?
I don't know. He was in 50,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I know that. We want
20,000?
Oh God, 50, no, 50,000. They went even further down.
They
They
went
were,
deeper?
yeah, they they went deeper. Yeah, they were far down. No, yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. 20,000 leagues. Um, but no, we don't get Peter back, but we do have another. I always think it's funny when we get an Oscar-winning movie in here. This movie did win for Best Original Song, which I think is a common theme. I feel like we've reviewed or talked about multiple Best Original Song nominees here. At least nominees. This one did win though. Which
Hey, well, whatever will be, Nathan. That's my motto.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't know. So I've seen the part of this movie in film school, and I did not know the Que Sera Sera song actually came from this movie. I thought it predated this movie. I thought it was just like a song everyone knew. What do you call that? A standard. But no, it I didn't realize it was made from this movie by and Doris Day sings it.
They just pulled that one out. They're just like, we need like a hit song here,
Yeah,
guys.
that's what I thought. I mean, they did it in The Simpsons, right?
Oh yeah,
Unless Ned Flanders made the song. He was the original writer. I think so.
maybe.
Um,
But I no, I thought the same because I did watch this movie. Like I said, I think on the last episode, I watched this movie a long time ago. Like I ended up finding this movie at a Goodwill on VHS, and I think we paid like $2 or $3 for it, and
nice.
and watched it, and I had the same thought. I was like, oh, like this movie has the same song as that episode of The Simpsons. Oh, maybe this is where The Simpsons pulled it, and then it's like, no, this is the originator. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
very interesting.
And
Um,
the nice thing about this song is that there's two versions of this song.
there is, I guess, it's sung in the movie, right?
Well, there's two versions in the movie, yeah.
There
Because
is. Okay.
there's gendered versions. Did you not notice
I
that?
did not notice that there were gendered versions.
When she's singing to, because when she's singing to her little boy, it's like it's like, will I be handsome? Will I be rich?
Yeah,
And
you're
then
right.
and then it's like when I was a girl, I was like, will I be pretty? Will I be rich?
Oh, I guess I didn't. No, I did not notice that. I guess maybe I thought it was just a long song. That it was like a 10-minute song, and they were singing different parts. Because this song does seem really, really long at some point.
And I love every minute of it.
Oh yeah, love it the whole way through. So the man
I
in New,
do.
you love this song?
You didn't like the song? Wait,
Oh no,
I was
no,
being
no, I have no problem with the song. I don't
uh,
love it. I'm not gonna listen to it outside of the movie, but I think it's nice. It's a nice song.
you didn't think Doris Day gave a great song, a great
Yeah,
performance.
she did. She did give a great performance. Probably a better performance than James Stewart. I'll say it right here. Even though James Stewart's good, but I do think, yeah, I know.
Hold your horses,
I know.
Nathan.
I'm saying it. I'm saying it right here, right now. I think Doris Day knocks it out of the park.
You wouldn't say that again.
Doris Day is better than James Stewart in this movie.
Oh my God.
You don't agree? You don't agree?
No, I'm
Gun to
kidding.
your head. uh yeah. But no, so I should say that this is a remake, but very loosely. The ideas of that original movie are here, but it's taken in a different direction. Certain scenes are pulled, but it definitely feels like Hitchcock learned a lot over the years, took what he learned and made like a quintessential Hitchcock movie. Like, it has the same feel of one of his movies more than the last one. And more focus on like twist and the mystery and the thrill of it all. It becomes a globe-trotting movie because it actually takes place in Africa at the beginning of the movie. They're going to Morocco. Um, and I guess they look rich, they look affluent. So whenever the little boy gets into trouble, this guy shows up and is like, hey, it breaks up the trouble and then asks too many questions, is asking about his life as a doctor and like where he's from. And of course, James Stewart is like, oh, whatever. It gives him all the
Oh, yeah,
information.
I'm a doctor, see?
Yeah, exactly. And then it's crazy. I was thinking, he's like, dang, he's looking really old in this movie, but I mean, he lived till the 1990s. He
Yeah,
was around
yeah,
for a
it's like he
long
lived
time.
almost like another what, like 35 years he lived.
Crazy. Um, which I guess I wonder one sec. What I mean, it didn't matter in the 50s, but what was the age disparity between Doris Day and James Stewart? Let's see. I guess it's 14 years, a 14-year difference.
Okay, it's fine.
That's not the worst I've seen. Um, I'll take it. It's fine. But what I like here is that Doris Day, right from the start, she's the smart one of the two of them, even though he's a doctor. And she's like, "Hey, don't you think he was asking too many questions?" He's like, "No, no, 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 no." Or you can do the James Stewart voice if you want.
No, no, you wasn't asking too many questions.
Exactly. And she's like, "I don't
He's just
know."
a kind man, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of how the movie goes. Is she knows a lot more than him as far as like being wary, because we know immediately that as soon as she says something's up, there is something up with the movie. That's going to be the thrill of it, but we also got to figure out the mystery of it. So yeah, it's just them hanging out in Morocco for a bit. There's a scene where James Stewart doesn't know how to sit. Like literally all he has to do is sit down in the seat, but he tries to lean back, the seat's low to the ground, and like he's putting his legs up under the table. I mean, it's not that hard. He can sit in the chair.
And he wants to eat food with two hands.
Uh-huh, but you can't there. You have to eat with one hand, and he just complains about it. just just seems like it seems a little annoying to take a trip to Morocco and be like, I don't feel like bothering with the customs.
I, they always talk about like how like rich they were too, like in the beginning of the movie. They're just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, like we were traveling all throughout like Europe and now we're in Morocco and it's all
Yeah.
thanks to our like the illnesses and ailments of my patients.
Yeah. Yeah, and their son is going to grow up to be a little brat because he's over here like, they call this the dark continent? Doesn't look very dark to me, just like garbage like that. I don't know, little annoying little boy, but he's out of the movie. He gets kidnapped, just like in the
or
original.
like in the original, or like they said, when they meet Mr. Bernard or
Hmm.
Louise Bernard, he's like, "Do you eat snails?" And he's like, "Oh yes, I love snails." Like, well, you should come to our backyard. They're full of them. We haven't figured out how to get rid of them.
I even thought about a French man before, like which is kind of funny. But yeah, so this Bernard character is the one who talks to him on the bus, but instead of him being like the spy that's kind of watching over their shoulder, he actually gets killed early in the movie. He's the death from early in the movie, except he gets a knife in the back, and he has dark face paint on, and of course,
Yes.
and yes, but he's in disguise. It's okay. But he gets killed, and then James Stewart is the one who gets the note in this one. And instead of, I was thinking about it, like in the original, that guy dies, no one reacts to it whatsoever, and he can just go to the bathroom and he finds the little note. Here, James Stewart actually has to go to like the cops, has to explain to them what's going on, but of course he can't say anything over the phone. And let me tell you, the setup to this one, it's 10 times better. And I'll even say in the end, this is a much better movie than the original. It is much better put together.
I I like this one so much it actually like I was like, you know what? I gave that other one too much credit. Like
I
this
think
one's
so
like
too.
like this one's way, way better.
Isn't that crazy? Like I was also thinking the same. I was like, man, did I rate the last one too high? Because this one's just like it is a remake in that it takes the core idea, but it just makes it just so much better, more thought out.
That's a longer movie too.
Yes, yeah.
And I just much more interesting main characters in this
Oh
one.
yeah.
Doris Day is a much better wife than the last one, who was basically just like nothing in the first movie
Yeah.
almost. And I mean, even just like that, like just the way they filmed this movie too was just so much more dynamic, and it's just like
Mhm.
they had this really rich background and like really interesting setting, and um, just kind of like I was just like really intrigued. I was much more hooked into the story for this one than I was the last one, and I
Mhm.
genuinely cared about the characters in this one over the last
No, and I totally agree with
one.
that. Because it's just when I was watching this, I realized how much more sense the plot in this movie makes. Like it makes much more sense. The original made sense, but like some plot pieces didn't really connect together coherently. But here it felt like everything worked, everything was explained. I felt like I was able to follow along a lot better. And like you said, this movie is much more dynamic, like just little small things. Like there's a scene where James Stewart is really like nervous when someone's talking on the phone, and it gets close-ups of his hands like rustling through the phone book. And he's just doing that as like a nervous tick because he's getting more and more nervous. Just small touches like that, I really appreciated. But I think that's
I
just a director doing better.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, do you think that's the case? I mean, like, you don't think he was just like, he wasn't just perfect in like the 30s?
I mean, he has some good older movies, but definitely his best run was in the 50s and uh, yeah, probably just the 50s, right? I mean, he has
Yeah.
great movies in the 40s, but like we're talking like Psycho, North by Northwest,
Wasn't it like,
this.
wasn't Psycho 60s?
What I thought it was 59.
Oh, maybe. I thought it was like 60, but I could be wrong.
No, no, one
But
second.
okay, so yeah, you're
Wait.
right.
No, no, no. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. The book came out in 59. That's the first. That's why you can't trust the Google AI shit because like it comes up as like
It's
59. I hate the Google AI.
59.
Yeah, it's stupid. All right, keep going. Keep going.
No, I just it's just a much better acted movie, like you said, like the nervous ticks and stuff. And
Mhm.
what I like is just how much more invested Doris Day and uh Jimmy Stewart were in like defining their son, where it's like
Yes.
just like they were just like so like desperate. Like there's the one scene where like Jimmy Stewart is like interrogating somebody about his son, and the guy doesn't really know what he's talking about, and like
Mhm.
Jimmy Stewart just kind of just like loses his patience and just like basically looks like he's gonna like hit him and just starts screaming and raving at him, and it's just like, yeah, it's like he lost his son. Like
Exactly.
that's like
Yeah.
that's a relatable reaction. It's like in the other one, it was just like, oh yes, we've lost our child, and blah, blah, blah. And just it just
Yeah.
didn't seem that like they were that well invested into finding their own daughter. And this one, it was like they actually seemed much more um invested in it.
Exactly. And I think that just comes with better actors. They're both just doing really good. There's something about James Stewart. No matter what he's in, he's always fun and enjoyable to watch. You know, you're going to get a pretty good performance. Doris Day is really good. If there's one thing that the original has over this one, I think Peter Lorre as the villain is so good that I wish this movie had a better main villain. I think the villain group isn't as great in this movie, and I don't think they have to be. I think that point is made that they don't have to be that big of a deal. They just are a group. But maybe I would have liked that carrying over. Maybe one major villain played by someone kind of prestigious. I feel like that could have helped made them a little more menacing.
Yeah. I agree with that. I was not really feeling the bad guys of this one, but like you said, I don't think that I think that was kind of like the point
Yeah, I don't
where
think it's necessary.
yeah, because it really seemed like they were trying to go for more like this, like we need to focus more on the parents and that and this their journey to getting back their son, which
Mhm.
I think was the much more interesting. 'Cause it almost seemed like the assassination, like even though that was kind of like that's still like the main plot of the movie, it wasn't at the forefront like the other one was. Like the other one seemed like it was much more of like a political like
Mhm.
thriller almost, where it was trying to go for like the assassination attempt like was like the primary focus, and this one it was more like let's just get our son back.
Exactly, and like the steps to go there. I was happy to see one of my favorite scenes return from this movie because they go and investigate a term that keeps coming up. God, I forget the worst word, but it's something chapel.
Ambrose Chapel.
Ambrose Chapel. And that's part of the scene before is they looked for a name and that didn't go anywhere, but they went for a place, a chapel, and they're singing in the chapel and they're talking to each other at the same time.
Hmm.
Yeah, which I love that because they're singing in tune and doing it. But that scene is done
Yeah.
even better because the people that are running this group that have kidnapped the kid, they're they run this church and there's a really great scene where James Stewart and Doris Day have to hide in the crowd, and James Stewart hides behind a pillar so the guy can't see his face. And of course, Doris Day, she's short, so she's hidden by people. I don't know. It's small touches like that that I really appreciated.
Yeah. And they cut out a lot of that stuff too. Like the church scene was like reduced significantly
Oh
too.
yeah.
Uh,
No
like the other one that was like
hypnotism.
no weird hypnotism, no chair throwing fight.
Yeah, they got rid of the dentist subplot completely.
Yeah, there's no dentist, and no evil dentist
Yeah.
in this one. Yeah, I yeah, it's just a much better experience for this one. I'm just trying to think like another thing I really enjoyed as well was just like um I like the like the party goers like at their house or whatever, like the people they invited over,
Yeah,
and
and
like
that's like a
you,
through line for the whole movie.
like they were getting like oh like like they were like getting like invested what was going on.
Yeah, because they end up returning to London after Morocco, and they have like a bunch of people come over, and they keep leaving. Like James Stewart's like, I gotta find the chapel, so he goes off, and then Doris Day is like, oh, I'm gonna leave too, and then James Stewart returns, and this group of people are like, why are they leaving for the same thing at the same time? And they're kind of just, and they're told to just stay in the hotel room, so they
Well,
just sit around.
Well, they get like invested in it too
Yeah.
because it's like because when Jimmy Stewart returns, they're like, "Oh, she's going after Ambrose Chapel," and he's like, "I was just there," and he starts to run off, and they're like, "No, no, they're going to the place, Ambrose Chapel," and he's just like, "Oh, that's just a wild goose chase," and just
Yeah.
and turn. But I just liked it because they were getting all invested, and then like you said, when they were both gone, they were just like patiently waiting for them to come back because I just wanted to
Yeah.
find out what would happen.
And then they're there even till the end of the movie, which I think is really funny. Which we'll get into that. But when the same plot happens where it's an assassination inside of an opera house and the gunshot is supposed to go off as the symbol crashes. I think this movie smells of like Hitchcock probably liked a lot of the same ideas and like was like I could do it better, and that's definitely like this scene much better. Instead of Jimmy getting like forced into being the shooter, that's not a thing anymore. They just end up there at the right time as he pulls out the gun and Doris Day still screams to ruin the assassination attempt. And it's really good because there's no dialogue either. And this isn't the first time this happens. Nobody talks and it's just music playing. And this is a scene I watched in film school where everybody's just you know, mouths are moving, but the music is taking over. And I do think it's a really well done scene.
I agree too. It's much more thrilling than the last one, where I
Exactly.
like the other one was just such. I mean, it's just a lot richer flavor in this one, where it's like that,
Mhm.
like what we kept saying. I think like oh, we wanted a little more spice or whatever to like the first
Mhm.
one or whatever, and I think this movie kind of delivers on that for me.
For
And
sure.
it's just everything's just filmed much better, and like even like after the assassination, like the movie still goes on afterwards too.
Wow, they actually added an like a more to this movie at the end. But yeah,
Yeah,
because the son isn't just saved automatically. What happens, and it's actually a pretty cool twist, is that the prime minister is saved, and where the kid is being held is where the prime minister is residing. So it's like it's this weird game of like, well, the kid can't leave here because then the prime minister will know that we attempted assassination on him and like this whole conspiracy was happening. So Jimmy Stewart and Doris Day come up with this plan because Doris Day saved him that she would be a guest there and sing. And the little boy sings the K Sera 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 song or whistles it. So what happens is Doris Day sings, and then the kid starts to whistle, and then that's how you know. And also, I was not expecting Jimmy Stewart to bust down a door, literally, because he's like whistling behind the door, and then Jimmy just like the door like breaks off the hinges for him to get in there. There's a lot of
and
action for him.
so like, do you think like so like that song that she sang? I mean, technically, like, because that was like the thing. Like, she used to be like a singer,
Hmm.
so like that was her song, and like the only reason why he knew is because like because he was her son.
I guess so, yeah, which would make sense, right? That nobody else there would know that, like, if he started whistling, because the dude, the main guy of the assassination tells this lady who is taking care of the child, like, oh, you need to just kill the child and get rid of it. And the lady lets him whistle because she has a heart. She can't kill the little boy. She can
She's an
kidnap him.
assassin, full of a heart of gold.
And yeah, I like that. Uh, but yeah, so they end up with the boy, and it actually is another really thrilling ending where they want like because you think everything is good, the guy shows up with a gun and leads him down, but it ends really fast, like really fast after this. Like I mean, they Jimmy Stewart pushes the guy down the stairs, which I guess knocks him out. They run down, they hug, and then there's that ending singer of them showing back up to the party people and being like, just like, hey, we're here now. I don't know. I think
I had to pick up my boy.
so. I'd say overall that this movie is a bigger improvement to the point where like you really don't have to watch that original one. I think this one is perfectly viable. This is all you need to watch because this is a much better representation of him, and it's a good movie.
I retract my
I
recommend it,
kind of. I mean,
And I give this one to a full recommend.
That's the thing. I guess it's not like the last one's bad or anything. It's not like that. It's just like
No,
this movie is obviously just a better representation of that plot.
it's not a bad movie, but like I said, I like it less now that I've seen this one.
Yeah, yeah, but it's interesting to like get that perspective on both of them. But yeah, I do fully recommend this one. It's a good Hitchcock movie. I'm a little, I'm happy to finally have seen it
Me, I am as well. Well, again.
again on a cleaner copy.
Hmm.
Yes. But I think that wraps it up for today. But Ryan, remind us, what are we covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, we're going to be talking about The Vampire's Kiss, and that is free on Tubi right now.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to watch that one. But if you want to send us an email, you can email us at driveanddoubleFeaturePodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you're listening to this at. But until next time.
Until next time.